this is Dr. Sarah Vincent, Ourselves Black Executive Editor, here with the Ask Dr. V series. So what this is an opportunity for college students across the country to submit questions that we will respond to using our medium, Ourselves Black. And we'll have a video blog, which you're watching now, and also a Twitter chat related to the question that the student submitted. So for our very first one, we have a question that resonates so deeply with me as a Black woman in this country, and has a lot to do with why Ourselves Black even exists. So I'm really excited about the conversation that we're going to get to have later around this topic and about getting the chance to respond to it. But the question is from a college student on the West Coast. She says, I'm an African American studies major, and I'm always trying to cope with the issues and facets of white supremacy. These issues often leave me paralyzed and take me into a mental loop. How do I find a balance between making peace with myself and acknowledging my humanity while fighting the systemic issues of white supremacy? When should I fight? Sometimes I wish I didn't know the things I do. So my first response to that is that it's absolutely critical that you know the things you do. And I'm really glad that you know them. Because the reality is, in this country, we're all affected by structural racism, by white supremacy. And it's better for us to know what's going on so that we can respond appropriately. Without knowing, we can fall into just accepting the status quo and to really internalizing those messages that we are less than, or that there's something that we've done to deserve the way that we've been treated in this country. So keep studying, keep learning about your history, and never ever regret knowing what you do. For me, it's definitely been a journey. So I grew up in Northwest Florida, which is a place that is functionally more like the Deep South than people often think of when they think about Florida. And so I grew up with both covert and frankly some overt experiences with racism growing up. And it was something that gave me a perspective about the world, but that also sort of equipped me to deal with what was going to happen in real life. The reality is that even if you're educated, even if you check off all the boxes, as Black people, we don't necessarily escape racism in this country. And so those early experiences of dealing with it and of understanding the world that I was operating in have actually come in pretty handy. So part of why I went to Florida A&M University, shout out to my alma mater, is because I really needed a break. And it was this incredibly affirming experience to be surrounded by Black excellence and to see people who are striving and working toward goals, and to be taught by Black professors and to attend classes where it wasn't this default of white is right or white is our goal or white is what we were striving to be. It was a really powerful experience. And so, for me, it was really restorative and in many ways quite therapeutic to be at a historically Black college. Now, I know that everybody can't decide to change course and go to an HBCU, or you may be out of school already, or you may be doing things of value at your PWI. And I went to med school at a PWI, so nothing against them. But I think there is something to be said for that experience, right? That experience of being in an affirming environment, of being around people who look like you, who value your ideas, who can validate your experience, and who understand what you're going through, sometimes with just a look and without you having to explain or justify it. And so part of what I've done in my professional life and what I encourage other people to do too is to make it a point to be part of your Black professional organizations or to be part of your Black civics groups. And not that we don't interact with the broader society, or not that we don't have work to do there, but I find that those experiences really do recharge me and help me keep perspective, and help me keep pushing toward that fight, as you mentioned, of trying to help us move past and persevere in spite of the white supremacy that we face. Another thing that I have found incredibly helpful is staying grounded in history. And that's why I think that you really have leg up on so many of us. So the story of Black people in this country is absolutely one of violence and being on the wrong end of a lot of terrible, negative things. But the story of Black people in this country is also one about dignity and about resilience and about perseverance and about survival. And I find that looking back at those examples of those who came before us, reading people like James Baldwin, who have been wrestling with this long before we were born, it strengthens me. And actually, I just went to a vacation and literally just read James Baldwin the whole time and came back grounded and ready to sort of face some of the things that we're going through in this country, ready to pour all I have into Ourselves Black and into this initiative after doing it, because it just reminded me that this is not new and that we have survived before and that we will, and that we find ways to keep going and to persevere. Not because racism has gone away, but in spite of it. And there's something that James Baldwin writes about, this idea that because we understand both the Black experience and also the white power structure and the white experience, because we have to in this country, that it actually can be advantageous for us in certain ways. And I think that there's some truth to that you can navigate both worlds because you have to. But that gives you a perspective that is useful and valuable. So in summation, and I could talk about this all day, and I look forward to chatting about it on Twitter. What you feel is real and what you feel is valid, but don't allow yourself to let that define you. There are lots of things to be angry about in our communities. There are also lots of things to be proud of, and that we have to work toward and that we can look to and say that we've accomplished. I hope that this is helpful for you, and I hope that you join us on the Twitter chat and keep learning, because it's never going to be to your detriment to be aware. Because when you're aware, then you can navigate the world with your eyes wide open and be more effective in addressing these issues that are affecting you and affecting our communities.